Throughout the last few decades, alongside the rise of the internet, one very important thing has become apparent. Many hands makes light work, or in this case, many brains. Modern history is awash with cold cases and unsolved mysteries, tragic crimes that have faded into the dusty shelves of the lost and the forgotten. But those mysteries didn't account for the unquenchable thirst of human curiosity in the relentless pursuit to find the truth. From WebSleuths to Reddit to the murky corners of 4chan, the internet has had a habit of pulling at threads that modern criminal justice has left behind. So, I guess we better take a look too. Hello horror fans, and once again welcome back to the Scariest channel on YouTube, top 5 scary videos. As always, I'll be your horror host Jack Finch, as today we leaf through the World Wide Web's finest moments and take a look at the top 5 scary mysteries solved by the internet. Roll the clip.
Why should I live in history, huh? I don't want to know anything anymore. This is a world where nothing is solved.
Before we kick off this list, you know the drill by now horror fans. If you're a fan of this video, unsolved internet mysteries, or just top 5 scary in general, then please be a dear and hit that thumbs up button, as well as that subscribe bell so you can stay up to date with our latest and greatest horror uploads. Make sure to stick around all the way till the end as well, where I'll be reading out some of your more creative comments from the past few days. On with the show. Kicking off at number 5, Paulette Jasta. In May 1979, a 25-year-old woman, Paulette Jasta, had disappeared from a small town in Michigan where she lived with her mother and 6 siblings after being tormented by her own mental health issues. The family were distraught and searched endlessly for Paulette, but to no avail, left with no explanation as to her ultimate fate. They were left in the dark for nearly 35 years until Sharon Derrick, a forensic anthropologist, was examining old autopsy pictures of an unidentified woman whose body had been buried in a pauper's grave in Houston, Texas. Sometime in January of 2014, Sharon Derrick had received a tip from the internet, a web sleuth who had been scouring a database of unmarked graves and unidentified deaths when they noticed similarities between the Paulette Jasta missing persons report. After pursuing the lead, Sharon managed to match photographic evidence of 3 distinct freckles on the Jane Doe's face to that of Paulette Jasta, which tragically revealed that she'd been killed in a hit-and-run incident on March 28, 1980. Sadly, Paulette's life had came to an end, but after 35 years, her family could finally grieve their missing daughter. Swinging in at number 4, Jalopnik. Here's an interesting one, and of all places was solved by Jalopnik, which, come on, is a great word. Jalopnik, an automotive fan forum that has a massive user base of motor fanatics who had their moment to shine back in 2012 following a fatal hit-and-run incident in Waynesboro, Virginia. Tragically, 56-year-old Betty Marcel Wheeler was walking near her home when she was hit by a vehicle and killed. The vehicle had fled the scene, but police had found a part of the vehicle lying by the roadside. Unable to identify it, they posted it to Jalopnik, seeking the aid of car enthusiasts in the hope that it would lead to the prosecution of the perpetrators. And guess what? It did. Within minutes of the Waynesboro Police Department asking the internet for help, several users had already came forward and identified the part as belonging to a Ford F-150, which swiftly led to the arrest of 2 men, bringing justice to Betty Marcel Wheeler and her family. Next up at number 3, Grateful Doe. The unsolved mystery of Grateful Doe had perplexed the internet for years. In 1995, a 21-year-old man named Michael E. Hager and an unidentified hitchhiker were killed in a car accident in rural Virginia. Hager's family were devastated, but no one mourned for the John Doe hitchhiker, as the authorities were unsuccessful in identifying exactly who he was. The only thing to identify him was a tie-dyed Grateful Dead t-shirt, eventually giving him the nickname Grateful Doe. The case went cold. Almost 20 years later, a Redditor named Layla Betts from Queensland, Australia, stumbled upon the case of Grateful Doe, using a photographic reconstruction of his face from the National Centre for Missing and Exploited Children. Slowly, with the help of fellow internet sleuths, Layla began piecing together Grateful Doe's identity, which eventually led her to being contacted by a guy named Steve, claiming to be the former roommate of the unknown man. Turned out, he was right, and his real identity was Jason Callahan from Illinois, who had gone missing after following his favourite band, the Grateful Dead, on their nationwide tour. For over 20 years, Grateful Doe had remained unknown, but thanks to the hard-working curiosity of the internet, he was finally laid to rest. Coming in at number 2, Abraham Shakespear. Now, it sounds like great news winning the lottery, right? But you'd be surprised the lengths that people will go to when faced with the green-eyed monster, as is the case of Abraham Shakespeare, a 47-year-old Florida man that won $30 million on the lottery and would ultimately end up murdered and buried in a shallow grave. After collecting his winnings and paying off his family's mortgage, Abraham was approached by a woman named Doris D.D. Moore, claiming to be a financial advisor with the intention of helping Abraham manage his newfound wealth. Well, her real intention was to take the money for herself, and after months of lies and deceit, she shot Abraham twice and buried him under a cement slab. For months, local police suspected Moore as the killer but didn't have enough evidence to convict her. The case got backlogged for a while and was put under the scrutiny of the WebSleuths forum, a site dedicated to amateur e-detectives. Well, it gets crazier because during the WebSleuths probe, Moore logged onto the forum anonymously, compelled to defend her reputation, but didn't take into account that crucial little thing known as an IP address. WebSleuths co-owner Trisha Griffin called Moore's bluff and submitted the IP data to the police, which ultimately led to her conviction, where she was sentenced to life in prison. Don't browse the forum like that. No. And finally, our number one spot, the skull in the bucket. And this is a bit of a roller coaster to say the least, but the perfect example of what one determined internet detective can pull off with enough time on their hands. Back in 2001, a retired trucker named Roland Telfer noticed something weird at Missouri truck stop, an abandoned plastic bucket filled with concrete. Thinking to use it to feed his pigs back home, he dumped the concrete on his farm, but it wasn't until months later, when the concrete had crumbled away, that he realized what it really was. A human head. Eventually, it turned out that it was the head of Gregory May, a 56-year-old tattoo artist that was murdered in 2001 by his best friend Douglas DeBruyne over May's incredibly rare Civil War memorabilia. What followed was a tragic, intricate tale of murder, but DeBruyne couldn't be tried for one simple reason. At the time, the skull wasn't verified to a person, and without a body, DeBruyne couldn't be connected to the murder. Now enter Ellen Leach, an amateur internet sleuth who went to arduous lengths in connecting the skull to that of Gregory May, and eventually provided enough evidence to tie the two together, resulting in the conviction and life imprisonment of his killer. Great job, Ellen. Well, unfortunately, that's all we've got time for in today's video, but before we depart, let's take a look at some of your more creative comments from the past few days. Jordan Killman says, "Your French is impressive." Well, Jordan, thank you very much, buddy, although the harsh truth is that my French is terrible. But my German is a smidge better. Ich bin eine kleine Kartoffel. Justin M says, "Does this guy own more than 3 shirts?" Well, Justin, no. Who needs more than 3 shirts, right? One to lend, one to use, one to lose. No, but in all seriousness, I film several videos in advance, so you're usually seeing me in the same outfit on the same day. That's the magic of the internet, right? Berserker5150 says, "Jack has the best English accent ever, makes binge watching easy." Well, Berserker5150, that's the nicest thing you could ever say, although many of my country folk will disagree with you, as Shire folk aren't renowned for our lyrical accents, to say the least. And finally, Brandy Rose says, "And if you gaze long into an abyss, the abyss also gazes into you." Friedrich Wilhelm Nietzsche. Let's keep gazing, shall we? That's the spirit, Brandy. That's all we've got time for in today's list. Cheers for sticking around all the way to the end. As always, I've been your host, Jack Finch. You've been watching Top 5 Scary Videos, and until next time, you take it easy.